Hold up, gotta start the music. Hold on.
Do 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 do.
Willy bum bum.
Looks like it's another case for Mulder and Scully.
Welcome to another Fortean words. That's my spoopy voice.
I've got to ask now. Now I've got it in the mood. Who's the Welsh bint that sung that song? It's another case for Mulder and Scully.
Catatonia, Keris Matthews. It was when she was in Catatonia, so Catatonia was the band if you're looking for it. It's another case for Mulder and Scully.
I can't remember the rest of the song. I just remember that one little bit.
Yeah.
Don't use that. Don't use that accent. That's cultural appropriation. Ian will
It's not. I'm half Welsh. I'm half Welsh. I can do it.
Yeah, he's got the W word pass.
Yeah.
I'm the only one allowed to use that accent.
I got the taff pass.
All right.
I'm allowed to. Only me and Ian are allowed to call people taff on this show.
Hemi likes to fuck in the valley.
In the valleys.
In the valley.
I'm just thinking of bottom now with, oh no, not Taffy O'Jones.
To be fair, the only good thing I can think of Wales, some of the parties I've been to in the valleys in Wales, like the free parties, like the way that the sound from the rigs echo around the sides of the valleys and everything.
Tell you what, if you like walking uphill both ways, go to Bangor. Really nice town.
If you like hills, go to High Wycombe. They've got some mad hills.
Oh, is it that remind me of Ian? You'll know this one, mate. Do you remember Jasper Carrot? Didn't we have an horrible day the day we went to Blackpool? Do you remember that one?
Yes. The nutter on the bus.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my girlfriend to Oldham and then I'm going to bang her.
Hey.
Nice.
Every time I see pictures of Blackpool, I'm just like, yeah, and that's a reason not to go to Blackpool.
I read a book by Jasper Carrot, and he was saying he was in LA in a taxi, and the car in front on the reg plate it said bollocks, and he had an epilepsy of laughter. And I looked up what the word epilepsy was, and then it was even funny. Yeah, that as you said,
apoplectic. It's a phrase that he uses quite often.
Yeah, he became the word you said with laughter.
Yeah,
was seeing bollocks on the reg plate in LA.
Yeah. His other funny one. You heard about the one when he went to Australia, and he said when you're on the flight to Australia, read anything like Lord of the Rings, Reddit, like anything. You'll just read anything and everything. So he's reading this he's going through this magazine, finds a picture of the Durex F1 car in the pits with a burst tyre. So he thinks I'll use this for my stand-up. So there he is in Australia, Durex car in the pits with a burst tyre. And it's dead. Nobody gets the fucking joke. So and then later on he finds out that Durex is the Australian leading brand of sellotape.
Clown X checking in. I've gone full astral body. I've left the shitty world. Just FYI.
Oh, where's my ticket? I want to go space fishing in Mars, dude.
Space fish? We're going with Elon Musk.
Oh, on the totally real space flight on the... Did he just basically look at Austin Powers and went, yeah, that's good, I'll copy that one-to-one?
But the Jeff Bezos cock ship was pretty weird looking.
What, the Blue Origin? The moment I saw that, I was like, why would you do that to yourself? The memes that are going to come out of this.
Have you seen the latest Fortean Times has got the Space Liberace, the unlikely tale of the Dead Entertainers UFO comeback concert?
You what?
Apparently Liberace appeared during a UFO flap or something, even though he was dead.
Why can't Salvador Dali come back and say, I've come to reprise my role as the Emperor in June?
Yeah.
Mad Fraz said, space is fake and gay.
Yes, it is, but we're humouring the part of the audience that still believes in space.
Oh, you're looking at 2 weeks. 2 weeks time. You're looking forward to the mud flood, aren't you, Hobbit? Me, Mad Faz.
Yes.
Mad Faz wasn't here for the Flat Earth stream. You should have seen our chat, man. We have never got so much hate from our own fucking chat just for asking.
Oh, I'm a Flat Earth enjoyer now, 100%.
Yeah.
Had questions, that's all.
I can say is Motley Crue is alive and John Bonham and Keith Moon are dead.
That's a riff on a Dennis Leary joke, isn't it? Because he said Stevie Ray Vaughan's dead. He said, and you can't get John Bon Jovi into a helicopter.
That's a complete Dennis Leary ripoff, but he's a great guy, but he also ripped off a lot of shit from Bill Hicks when they were in England.
Yeah, I've seen the bits he's ripped off even in Demolition Man. The one I liked was somebody came up recently when they're talking about John Lennon with his Imagine song. It's like, why can't you do something more useful? Like, imagine there's no 38 snub no specials.
Right, so are we ready to start some content, or are we going to carry on bantering for a bit longer?
This is the show.
Yeah.
Apparently, Mad Flash triggered Brit Talk. What did you do? Did you mention Flat Earth?
Yeah. He did the Flat Earth bit and upset everyone. Exactly the same reaction we got.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You guys done a whole Flat Earth show, or?
Yes, I had some questions.
Well, we didn't say Flat Earth is real. We just called it Flat Earth. Hobbit has questions. Like you wouldn't.
Because I had questions.
Yeah.
You're asking questions. Where's Dom? Dom's there. He's just quiet.
Yes, I'm here.
Say hi to Ian, hey Dom.
Where are you and Ian on Flat Earth then?
I think the Earth is round.
Oh,
where am I on Flat Earth? Kind of in the top left half, I think.
Hey! Oh!
You took it literally.
How can you be cornered on the globe Earth?
Yeah.
Private Joker, why did you join my beloved Marine Corps?
I know people that have come all around the globe for a Flat Earth conference, haven't they?
Well, Flat Earth Society is members across the globe.
Yeah.
I told you 1,000,000 times, don't exaggerate.
Oh dear, are we ready for some content? Ian slaves away on these slides.
Yeah, let's kick off, is it then?
Yeah.
Right, so all right then.
I've done the share screen bit so you can see it. So
that's great.
Yeah, so we've got a few illustrations as well to help us along, and for the people
is
at
that
home.
Meredith Kirch's apartment? That one.
We'll find out what that is shortly. So let's just kick off and. Okay,
shit,
then.
that's my back door. How have you got moved into my fucking house?
That's right, okay, then. So the paranormal. The paranormal can take various forms. Supernatural can manifest itself in many different forms. We all watch Scooby-Doo, and we think we know about the supernatural. And yeah, it's educational, but that just scratches the surface. The janitor not getting away with it.
Ian, now you've mentioned Scooby-Doo, I have to ask you a question. Why was Scooby-Doo scared of ghosts? They've never seen one.
Yeah, good question.
Is it like fear of the unknown then?
Sorry. Anyway, carry on, Ian.
It's educational though, and it does cover a lot of Fortean subjects, even though it ends up being the janitor in the end. So,
Mr. Jenkins from the amusement park.
Exactly. And Mr. Jenkins, the teacher, who was banned. But anyway.
Yeah.
The world of the paranormal becomes more curious, and we're all curious. some men are bi-curious and hang around in bathhouses. So tonight we're going to look at some curious supernatural cases from the outer limits. Some you may have heard of, some you may not. So a bit of a mishmash tonight. A few different cases rather than just one single case. So let's begin, and we'll go over to Dom, who's going to tell us about the first very curious case. Dom, take it away.
Well, Ian, the first curious case we're going to explore happened at a house in the town of Belmez, southern Spain. Not sure if that's how they pronounce it. I don't really care.
They're Italian, it don't matter.
So there. Look at this house, which mysteriously looks like a mysteriously curious house in southern Spain. So, on the 23rd of August 1971, Maria Gomez Camara was cleaning the kitchen floor of her house in Belmez, as she would do every day. As the mop slopped about the surface, Maria noticed a dark stain on the concrete. Nothing had been spilt there, and there was no reason for the stain. Thinking nothing of it, she carried about her daily business. Over a period of 7 days, the stain turned into a clear image of a face. Horrified by what she was seeing, Maria scrubbed frantically to get rid of the image. The face could not be cleaned away. So, let's have a look at the face.
Did she just take a shit on the floor?
Oh, hold on. I'm asleep at the wheel. Hold on, lads.
Yeah, let's see what she saw there.
Spanish John Kelly said, "That's the balcony Charlie Big Potatoes was last seen on with Maddie McCann."
That's who's that beautiful? What a beauty!
Would shit me up if I saw that. If I saw that on the floor.
What a beauty! Who's that beautiful lady?
It's either someone. She's either got really saggy jowls, or she's wearing a superhero mask.
It's more like a Phantom of the Opera type mask, isn't it? It's like that, but a double-sided one.
Like maybe that's part of the story.
Who's that sexy lady then?
You're definitely not.
Don't fancy yours much.
That, are you?
Yeah.
Smash or pass?
So 6 points of that is.
Yeah.
Worse.
Being a supernatural, believed and self-proclaimed medium, the image disturbed Maria. So she set about destroying the floor with the aid of her husband and son. They smashed the concrete with a pickaxe and laid fresh concrete. For the following week, the floor was normal and no faces were appearing. However, the week after, a new face appeared. Have a look at the scene.
Does anybody get this one from the chat? Oh my god, it's Professor Alice Roberts, but really old.
No.
Oh, right. I don't know who Alice Roberts is. I'll have to have a look in a second.
Never heard of it.
Right, so the next photo. There we go.
So, the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's Maria on the left, sat on her ass, the lazy bitch.
You can see the face if you look closely there on the floor next to that guy.
It kind of, I don't know. Is that like the big smiley face symbol?
The acid house symbol.
Yeah.
Never mind that. What's that
Acid house
glowy, the
symbol.
black bit with the glowy bit round it at the back? No one's noticed that.
That must be an orb, maybe.
Don't look at me, I'm irrelevant.
That's just a small singularity that happened to appear. So
is that what it was? The face was there to distract from the singularity that's occurring in their fireplace.
Also, to the left of the cunt in the middle, to the guy's left, there's also another face in that square.
Right.
That square.
To his right. You got your rights and lefts.
Left, right.
His left. His
the
left,
guy's left,
right.
they were right.
That was like a little golem peering through the grate in the wall.
There's faces all over that place. Actually, if you look at the shelf, it looks like a frog. You got the two plates and then the thing in the middle, and it looks like a frog. The second shelf up, that looks like a. There's faces all over that place. Yeah. There's faces all over it. How have they got so many faces in one picture?
the people have got faces as well. So the two people there, they've got faces. So.
Yeah. There's also a face in the picture. How many
he's
faces?
taking the knee, that guy, though.
Yeah.
They're both taking the knees. They're both very, very progressive. I respect that. So.
All right, spoiler alert. Everyone in this whole story that saw faces was on acid. Anyway, shall I
continue. We've distracted you enough.
Yeah. Yes. So the family planned to renew the floor again after this happened, but by this time word had spread about the odd happening, and the mayor of Belmez intervened to have the face removed for study. Subsequently, it was reported that analysis of the floor showed no reason for the apparition, indicating that it could be a sign from the dead. The floor was once again repaired and a new face appeared. This was destroyed, repaired, and the cycle continued. Soon there was not just one face staring back at the family, but many. Some of the faces faded and disappeared, but new ones soon took their place. The floor of the house was quickly covered in a vast array of faces. Local interest went into overdrive, and the police were brought in to control the gathering crowds, hoping to get a glimpse of the phenomenon. So let's have a look at these new faces. Next slide, please.
Yeah, no one's drawn that on the floor, have they? No one.
Yeah, but
they haven't.
Just done a fuck ton of acid. And all over the floor.
It's not parandola, is it? It's definitely, they're definitely faces. You know, we're not like looking at a cloud and you see a face in the cloud. That's definitely faces there. So if someone hasn't drawn them...
They're definitely faces, but they're not the kind of faces you'd expect, like a classically drawn face, not like kind of these cartoon strip kind of face, would you? I mean, that guy on the left, he's like, I don't know, he just looks 50s cartoon strip.
He's got a big square head, doesn't he? Looks like Tony Blackburn. Is that Tony Blackburn back from the dead?
Yeah.
Look at my square head, Steve.
Odd things going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's more on the next couple of slides. So if we have a look at the next one, for example.
Oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
The problem is there's an arse crack. Do they mention the arse cracks in the article, do they?
Yeah. You can practically see his anus in that one. Chocolate starfish.
Yeah. Oh, we got some more of which.
Is that
one as well? Is that another
that
one?
That one appeared mysteriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fuck did that? God.
That's
you know.
That is.
Did M. Khan find these faces? Did he?
Yeah.
So, a year after the faces started to appear, a university professor uncovered documents that state a 17th century governor who was born in Belmez murdered 5 members of a local family. The murder site was said to be nearby or in the Pereira house itself, and the faces could have been those of the murdered family, making their supernatural presence. Another theory, posed by several sources, was that the house had been built on a cemetery, that old chestnut, as it was that close to the...
Native American burial ground, was it? Yeah.
Indian burial ground.
Yeah, because there's a lot of them in Spain. Yeah. So anyway, because it was close to a church. So this is backed up by the fact that skeletons were found when the floor of the house was excavated. Many of the skeletons had no skulls, and the remains were dated at around 700 years old. An interesting factor to consider here is that human remains also found under other neighbouring houses, but it was only the Pereira house that experienced the apparitions. So the faces were selective as to which floor they appeared.
Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? If they had no skulls, then that might explain why the faces were trying to come through and not the rest of the body, isn't it? So skulls were trying to find themselves or something like that.
Someone lost their arse as well, because there was definitely an arse crack in that previous picture.
There was an arse in one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Also someone had their dick cut off, and that's why that one there Okay. A tradition. The Guy Fawkes. The Guy Fawkes.
Of some kind. Yes, that's what I want to know. Like, what did they mean by the drawing of this penis? Like, what do these hairs mean? What does the tip being separated from the rest of the penis mean? You know,
that's how they dissect it. That's the traditional way of dissecting it. It's very ceremonial. It's fucking painful as well.
Is it a message? Is it a message of some kind, or are these just a couple of chances that charcoaled some faces on the floor?
Yeah. So. But it would make sense if the heads were cut off. That that would in some way kind of loosely explain why.
If they had the heads cut off, were they like vampires or something?
Probably, yeah. None of the other houses in the area had this phenomenon, even though there were bones found into those houses. So that makes.
Let's investigate further.
Yeah, go for it.
So after the removal of the remains, the floor was once again replaced, and the faces were expected to be a thing of the past. For a few weeks, this was the case, and the town resumed its day-to-day business. At this time, psychic researcher Professor de Arumosa carried out physical research in the house. He made several electronic voice phenomena recordings, EVP, in which the voice of a child could be heard. The sounds captured are said to resemble a mixture of hell and a brothel.
Whatever that sounds like.
I think I can. Yeah, I think I've experienced that sound.
Brothel. What kind of brothels is this guy going to?
Yeah.
Some kind of S&M brothel.
Yeah.
But if the voice of a child was picked up, then that's the sort of dolphin square type. Yeah.
Anyway.
But the EVP recordings, or have you heard these? They're not very clear. The ones that I've heard. So,
you're not impressed, Ian?
They kind of sound
no.
They sound a bit like static or electromagnetic interference or something like that, or
one of our earliest episodes was on electronic voice phenomena. It's, I started wondering if it was like a modern equivalent of divining through a crystal ball.
And did you hear anything clear on the EVP, or was it just a vague crackling noise?
Nothing that really comes to mind. I was more interested in the fact that there's this Italian guy who's got a valve radio, and they put him into a Faraday cage, and they took the valves out the radio he uses for his thing, and the thing's called a radio, and he was still able to pick up voices on it. So I think that his body was the amplifier.
Are these the same things that they call? I think like ghost hunters call them spirit boxes, don't they?
Yeah.
No, the spirit box. What a spirit box does is it constantly scans radio stations. So what'll happen is you'll talk to the spirit, and then the spirit will grab it and speak through it somehow.
I think what you're thinking of there is a radio.
Yeah, or a device is picking up like Alexa in the house next door.
A broadband radio, then. So, I tell you what. I mean, if you've like tuned through shortwave radio, you get these sort of like ghostly voices come flickering in and out on the ionosphere. So, if you've got like a spirit box like that, chances are it will be picking up those trends. I'd like to use one of those and see what it's like.
The noise they make is really annoying.
It's horrific. I've used one.
You can buy them online.
Yeah, you can buy them online, Hobbit.
One's making a few quid out of it.
Well, I think it's a sort of like build your own radio spirit box kit. That's the sort of thing I'd enjoy making.
And attach it to the radiator as an area.
I've actually done that before.
Siri is Cirrus. So, guys, do you think Siri is a reference to Cirrus, the dog star?
Could be. They do like a bit of occult, these rich geezers, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They add that because it's, I don't know. And Alexa's kind of a dual gender name, and Siri could be reference to Cirrus, the dog's. I don't know. Sorry, I interrupt.
Could be a reference
We're going
to...
on a tangent about electronic voice from there.
Yeah.
Could be a reference to Siri from The Witcher.
Yeah.
No one knows that reference. Moving on. So
I prefer just to use a traditional...
I see three summed up the spirit box. It's like the yellow car off of Transformers. That's it exactly.
I prefer, though, to save my money and just use a traditional spirit board, and you can even make it yourself. So that's what I do. And
well, didn't you tried that, didn't you?
It didn't work, but I'm willing to try again. So.
Well, you did have some poltergeist. You did have some poltergeist activity outside your campsite, didn't you?
Yeah, but I did that myself though. So it was just a bit boring. What I filmed was a bit boring, so I thought I'd just make something up. So
yeah, he got a bit drunk and picked his camp to shit, and then was like, "Oh,
yeah, I trashed the place. I trashed the place myself in a rage. That's what happened."
Must admit, when you said you had a spirit ball, I was just thinking of a serving platter for vodka and gin.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. Right, so should we go back to Scooby and the gang?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. So on the 6th of June 1972, another face appeared on the floor and gradually changed its expression. Several more appeared, prompting further investigations. Foil was placed over the floor in order to reduce opportunities for fraud, but again the faces appeared. So on the next slide will show us how they changed over time.
Changed by themselves.
By themselves.
That might be. There we go. So there, that's how.
Jesus Christ.
Showing his teeth in the last one. Yeah.
Mm.
That's like the you know those photos that you see of people like before they did meth and after.
This is you before meth, and this is you on meth.
Someone did a faces of meth, but they did one of like heroin, meth, cocaine, and then they had Brendan Fraser before and after weed.
Mm-hmm.
He's fat now.
Looking to the left, isn't he? The face though. Something's got his attention over there.
They're trying to point.
The eyes.
He's trying to point something out. He or she. He's trying to point something out, aren't they? To be fair, they do look like they're becoming more demonic. Like it can't on a woman on the left, and then it's just like it seems quite demonic on the right, doesn't it?
Mm.
I mean, it's got like little pointy teeth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To continue his investigation, free from the family's daily life, Professor de Argumosa paid to have another room in the house to be converted into a kitchen. No sooner had the new kitchen been constructed, faces began to appear in this. Faces began to appear in this new location.
So they like to follow the kitchen around then, rather than stay in one place. So
Well, it's definitely a woman spirit then, isn't it? And staying in the kitchen, isn't it? Good woman.
And yeah, on the 9th of April 1974, it was reported that a face formed on the kitchen floor within 10 minutes in front of Professor Argumosa and two journalists. The face disappeared later on the same day to be replaced by the face of a young woman, which in turn transformed into the image of another woman but with rough features. It suggested that the contours of the faces were scratched into the floor and filled with some kind of colouring matter. A chemical analysis was carried out and showed only cement, ash and kitchen products. No colouring matter was found. And the face in question is the next one.
yeah, so obviously you'd think that someone was drawing these faces, wouldn't you? But when they were analysed, no evidence was found for this. The faces were appearing out of nowhere.
It's like the Shroud of Turin being radioactive.
Yeah. So go to the next picture there, Hemi. We'll have a look at the woman that appeared.
That's a bit better. That's a bit better than the other one, isn't it?
Look at that. There's two faces there.
What a beauty.
Quite fit.
Yeah, definitely would.
Yeah. I'll throw one up her.
The concrete action, yeah.
Anyway, so September 1981, Jose Martinez Romero, a writer and paranormal investigator,
Do they really
visited
need so
the
many
house
names?
and recorded. I know, it's just showing off, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so he recorded his experiences. He claimed that he had personally witnessed the appearance and disappearance of several faces in the new kitchen. He took photographs, but they showed nothing. He suggested that he might have been hallucinating.
I know how he feels. In the chat there, a young Fred West at the bottom, which
a young Fred West at the bottom.
A young Rose. That's a young Rose at the top. Cause
is that Fred and Rose? Is that a tribute to Fred and Rose?
So
always wasn't bad in the days.
They were trying to warn us. It's the prophecy.
Yeah.
So Romero returned in 1988 with a fellow investigator, Andrew Mackenzie. Faces were still present, but Romero was surprised in the manner in which they had changed. The faces were darker and less defined as before. This led him to believe that the faces were related to Maria Pereira's state of mind. When Maria was feeling unwell, the images would be faint in colour. This led Romero to deduce that when Maria died, the images would disappear permanently.
Either that or someone who's not as good at drawing is making them. So different people. Yeah.
So we can have a look at some of the 1988 faces.
Yeah, let's have a look at this.
Ooh, that's a bit. That's a bit. It looks rather skull-like, that one, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's
looks
very
like the elephant.
queer,
Actually, looks
it?
like the elephant man, doesn't it? You see the big bulging forehead and everything.
Yeah. It's got some kind of pearl necklace on the go as well. There.
Hey, oi.
Yeah. Hey.
Kind of, yeah.
It's like a plasterer's radio.
It kind of, to me, that one looks like black mold and that phenomenon that causes people to recognise faces and things.
Yeah.
Pattern recognition?
No, there's a fancy name. It's why, it's.
Oh, is it the one where you go on Wikipedia and the first example is the face on Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and
like a simulacra,
why
isn't it?
to see.
Simulacra?
Yeah,
or was it Simulacra? I can't remember.
Simulacra, yeah.
Kama Sutra.
Simple
Bukaki.
Karma Comedian.
We got a couple more faces as well to show.
What we got?
The next one.
He looks like he's having a poo. That face.
That's a weird one, isn't it? It's like a child's face.
It is.
Looks like Ethan Ralph.
The murdered child. Yeah.
So we've got another one. Oh, tits out. Nice one.
Yeah, bit of erotica coming up.
There we go.
Look at that then, eh? It's
Oh,
the
she's
early
rubbing a minge as well.
primitive. Yes, primitive Pornhub.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calm down, guys. No wolf whistling because that's illegal now.
Yeah.
You can see everything there, though, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that?
Tits, bum, fanny, the lot. There.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Is that a cock though? Is that like a transsexual?
Just looks like really bad fingers. I'm hoping that's really bad fingers.
Bangkok
So actually, these I never actually saw these images at the time, but back when I was about 19, I had like a band going with a bunch of friends, like a sort of punk band, and one of our songs was based on this case because we had like a book of paranormal stories. Yeah, it's called The Faces of Belmez. And it's weird, 'cause, like looking at these pictures now. The entirety of the lyrics were in Belmez, all over the floor, faces scrubbed off, came back for more. Nothing could stop them. They wailed at night. That's all the lyrics.
That looks like it's been signed at the bottom. That looks like it's been signed at the bottom there, doesn't it?
Yeah, the artists really shouldn't do that when they're doing this. If they don't want to give the game away.
No, that's like a small gnome person on the left. His cock and balls out, and then underneath his bell end's been coloured in, and underneath it is the signature.
She's about to sit on his face, and yeah.
So anyway, in 2004, Maria Gomez, she was the owner of the house, died, but the faces still appeared on the floor, and to date over 3,000 faces have been reported.
Well, they put a carpet
Let's have a
over
look
it.
at another one that. Well, yeah. You'd just get like faces in the carpet mould or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably would, wouldn't you?
But there's another one there that's changed over time.
It's just worn away.
Which is people have been walking over it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so the first one looks like a natural stain, then someone's probably just in the second one they probably just find the lines to make it more like it, and then they've lost interest, and over time it's just turned into a nothing.
Is there another pic?
So yeah,
is that it for the pictures? Is it?
For now, yes. So yeah, over the decades, paranormal investigators have offered various theories for the appearance and disappearance of the Belmez faces, but none have been fully accepted. The paranormal interpretation was contested by Spanish psychologist L.J. Jordan, who investigated the faces, said that they showed traces of pigments of a greyish substance. He determined that other faces had been done with a fine paintbrush and a mixture of soot and vinegar. He was even able to determine the size of the brush hairs used to paint the faces.
Yeah, that's ruined it, hasn't it? And then someone's been painting it.
Is he a psychologist or forensicologist? Because what he did was forensics, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just says. Oh, it says Spanish psychologist. So maybe they do psychology differently there. I don't know.
What
yeah, it would be. You'd think
yeah, it's something lost in translation. Like, he's a binman, but he did a forensic investigation of the pigments and found that it's like your profession has no relevance to your investigation.
I mean, that takes an entire department of people in a lab. I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah. I mean, am I just being a fantastic pedant here? Am I not getting it?
Well, maybe his second thing was chemistry. Who knows?
Oh, I'm a psychologist, but my hobby's forensic investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be, but yeah, it could just be a typo or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, another British researcher, Andrew Mackenzie, who was an authority on apparitions, visited Belmez in 1983, and he was impressed. He rejected Jordan's hoax theory and said, "I consider the case of the House of Faces to have been the most remarkable that has come my way in 25 years of investigations into the paranormal." Excuse me.
Would say that, wouldn't he? Yeah, he would say that though if he's biased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these days, faces still appear, and visitors from around the world visit the site to see the mysterious phenomenon and to put a few quid into the local economy. There's even been a museum set up in the town.
Oh.
And the next picture will...
So the whole town's milked it then, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is it another Loch Ness?
exactly. Yeah. You go this way to spend your money.
Yeah.
Just take me to the gift shop.
Yeah, we can go there in a minute and buy a key ring.
I think that just says Antigua.
Antigua Casa
Antigua's
de la
about-
Caras.
Yeah, House of the Faces, I think that is.
Wouldn't you get
Yeah.
like a Faces of Belmez tablecloth and matching bed set?
Do they do the Faces of Belmez playing card set?
Or a shot glass set. There's probably a shot glass set, isn't there?
Yeah.
Fridge magnet.
A fridge magnet.
Went to
Always buy
Belmez
a-
and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
They always buy a fridge magnet whenever I go.
Yeah.
I went to Belmez and all I got were these crayons to cover my floor tiles with.
Make your own Belmez Faces kit. Is that what they sell in the gift shop?
Yeah, you can see in the next picture, you can see where the tourists can see the faces.
Well, they've surrounded them in
Off.
masking tape, so you know what they are.
And you can like you said, as you said, the gift shop. We can see the gift shop next. It has to offer.
Really want one of those.
That's a very diverse gift shop, isn't it? There.
Yeah. So
And it's not really diverse, is it? Because that clearly a heterosexual couple, so could be a bit more diverse. Try harder, gift shop.
The way they've put the lines on it and stuff, it looks like here's Johnny, doesn't it? From thingy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
smashing it through a door. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So what do we reckon on that though?
Bullshit.
Is it voices from the dead, or is it people mucking about, or is it
I
simply
think it's a
paranormal?
tasteful gift shop and I want to visit it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if our band had got big, we could have used those T-shirts as our band T-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to worry about production. That's already catered to.
Yeah.
Yeah, some marketing sorting.
Yeah, just buy a load of them, have your tour dates printed on the back.
So you're saying if I make a band, I need to call it Loch Ness?
Yeah. Well, the Faces of
Yeah.
Belmez.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a new genre of band, like paranormal core.
Or just for the sake of like merchandise, just it's already all the merchandise is there. Just go to the gift shop in Loch Ness and yeah.
Buy a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
Shops.
Yeah. But yes,
In fact,
what a
could buy a-
peculiar happening.
I know. I was just going to say you could buy up all the T-shirts from all the various episodes that you've done. Like they even had one for was Oak Island, didn't they? They had some shitty T-shirts, and you can just put Fortean words at the top of them, and then make your own gift shop.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
I'm reminded of that
$1 million
merchandising scene in
We need more
Spaceballs.
listeners. We need more listeners for merchandise, don't we?
Yeah.
We can do a line in that. We still have an appeal to the younger crowd.
Yep.
Younger listeners. But anyway.
Well, maybe some of those younger listeners are in Barbados, which is the next curious tale. What Ian is going to tell us about. What a great segue.
Barbados.
Yes.
Chris.
And we've just been to Spain, so now we're going to go to Barbados. Let's do it.
Are we going to
Barbados.
slide?
Yeah, go on, go to the next slide whilst I open my Goblin Ruby Beer 5.2%, which I really
You're on the
shouldn't-
cider tonight.
Cider's gone. I'm on the ale now.
Aw.
The cider was Aldi cheap cider, whereas this is a bit more of a connoisseur's
Oh, the
drink.
one which comes in the plastic bowl, Blackthorn.
No,
Taurus?
I'm not that low, but So it's Woodgate, 4 cans for £1.89, which isn't
Oh yeah, I
bad.
like
Oh,
Woodgate.
Woodgate.
Yeah, not much different to Strongbow.
Or candles for how much?
Four
No, I
candles.
want
candles.
4 candles.
No, handles.
Handles for
Forks.
forks.
Johnny O's.
Well, the electricity has gone in my house, so I need to buy some candles. Could I have 4 of them, please? Right. Anyway, get on with this.
Yes.
I can't make it much clearer. 1724, a man called James Elliot purchased a burial tomb in the cemetery of Christchurch Parish Church in Barbados. The vault was an unremarkable semi-sunken tomb, but over the years, remarkable stories have emerged from it. So that's the burial tomb there. Something you would see out of a Gothic horror film. In 1792, Eliot's wife kicked the bucket, and she became the first occupant of the vault at peace in her coffin, placed inside. So at the time there was one coffin in that vault. The vault was then sealed shut. 1807, another family by the name of Walround purchased the tomb. Being of a generous nature, the Walround family allowed Mrs. Eliot's coffin to remain in there. So there was more than one family occupying the tomb. When the time came to lay a woman called Thomasina Goddard in the tomb, a shocking sight met their eyes. Mrs. Eliot's coffin was not there, and no one could explain why. So the tomb was sealed shut, and the coffin disappeared. There was no evidence of anyone entering the tomb, so the coffin had just disappeared with no explanation. The tomb had been sealed. There was no evidence to show the seal had been broken, and it had just disappeared into thin air. Nonetheless, Thomasina Goddard was placed inside the tomb, and no one discovered what happened to Miss Eliot. In 1808, the tomb changed hands again when the wealthy Chase family of Barbados obtained the burial vault and placed their daughter, Anne-Marie Chase, inside the vault. She passed away when she was 2 years old. The Chase family allowed Goddard's coffin to remain inside. 4 years later, Anne-Marie's sister, Dorcas, was also buried in the tomb after starving herself to death. Her father's abusive behaviour had driven her over the edge. So there's indications that her father was perhaps a fiddler, and that had driven her over the edge. Death continued to plague the Chase family when a month later, the dead girl's father, Thomas, committed suicide. He couldn't live with himself, so he struggled with the fact that, he was abusing his daughter, and guilt drove him to his death. So, when the coffin of Thomas was about to be placed into the tomb, the thick marble slab that sealed the vault was removed. To the surprise of the burial team, they saw that the 3 existing coffins had been violently tossed about and were standing against the walls of the tomb. There was no evidence of human tampering with the sealed vault, and nothing had been stolen from inside. The other vaults in the cemetery had been affected in the same way. This eliminated the possibility of earthquake or flooding. So basically, the coffins in the tomb moving of their own accord. Is this possible? All the coffins were placed back in their original position, and the coffin of Thomas was neatly added to the pile. The tomb, again, was sealed shut. Family members opened the mysterious tomb once again in 1816 to bury Charles Brewster Amos, who was a young boy. This time, the coffins were in complete disarray. Thomas Chase's large heavy casket had been moved across the tomb, and it appeared as though an earthquake or flood had tossed them around, but no such natural events had taken place. Again, the coffins were put back into their original positions, and now joined by the Brewster boy. The tomb was then sealed. In 1819, the tomb was opened again for a woman by the name of Thomasina Clark, who had poisoned herself and died as a result. Again, upon entering the vault, the coffins were seen haphazardly scattered about. Some of the corners had been damaged, some were partially open, and Thomasina Goddard's skeleton was hanging out for all to see. So, basically, Coffins seemed to be moving of their own accord. No one was tampering. What the hell was going on? Let's have a look.
I think the moving coffins is distraction. If you buy that tomb, you're going to have some bad luck occur in your family.
Yeah, let's have a look though. Let's look at the next picture, and we'll see the actual the coffins as they were and as they became. So there we go. On the left, that's how they should be. On the right, that's how they were being seen. So locals felt supernatural occurrences were happening in the vault, and that would explain movements of the coffins. So yeah, it's peculiar, eh? Conan Doyle suggested that the restless spirits of Dorcas and Thomas wreaked havoc in the tomb, thanks to the fact that they both had died by suicide. So Conan Doyle got involved in this. Conan Doyle wrote, "When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth." So when analysing, he didn't eliminate the impossible, and his involvement in this type of thing was a blotch on an otherwise remarkable career. He took the supernatural seriously, and he thought Houdini was actually doing real magic. Houdini told Doyle that what he did was an illusion, and obviously he didn't tell him how it was done. But not to give his secrets today. But Doyle wouldn't listen, and Doyle went on to believe in fairies. So, yeah, got a lot of attention, this case. How could the coffins have moved with no one entering the tomb, obviously? No earthquake, no flood. Could only be the spirits. The madness going on in the vault was becoming too much, and the governor of Barbados, Lord Combury, decided to get involved. Place sand on the floor of the tomb so that footprints could be seen if people were going in and fucking around. He also cemented the marble slab at the entrance of the vault. "No fucker's gonna get in there," he thought to himself, and left the matter. In 1820, the tomb was again opened, and again the coffins had moved all over the place. Alarmingly, the sand on the floor had not been touched. This was all too much for Lord Combury, and it fucked his head up. It was at this stage that all the coffins were removed from the vault and buried elsewhere. They were all buried in separate places and locations. The vault itself remained empty and open and unsealed, and to this day, no coffins were placed in there. So yeah, that's the strange case of the moving coffins. So theories as to what caused the Chase Vault coffins to move are few. Earthquakes, perhaps. But earthquakes are not common in Barbados, and none were recorded. Yeah, none were recorded.
It would have to be like a localised earthquake, wouldn't it? Otherwise, someone would have said something, wouldn't they?
Also,
this story you're telling me, especially with like the sound, it reminds me of these stones. I think they're in Death Valley, which roll around, and people don't know how they do it. And some suspect it might be the way the wind blows over them actually pulls them along. But I'm also thinking to myself, yeah, but I like the idea that sound is levitating these stones. And
I think the stones were on the weren't they on the salt plains in Utah?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was something about the unique kind of geography there and the physics of it and all sorts. Yeah, but yeah, well, I may be remembering wrong. Anyway.
Also, that's only stones, isn't it? These are fucking big lead coffins, so it's a bit different. Yeah.
The head end on all of the coffins has been completely switched round towards the door on that diagram.
Yeah. Maybe the original stacking wasn't feng shui.
Maybe it's like the ghost. It's the ghost of the guy who made Tetris.
Well,
voodoo feng shui.
Was it in the thing I was reading about it? I got me little child's book of the unknown. It's got some really good. It's called Amazing Mysteries and Phenomena. It's like a kid's book, but it's got some really good stories in it. But that mentions this, and they think it could be the ghost of Mrs. Goddard because they're the ones that belong in there. The others don't.
Yeah, it's like when neighbours. You buy a house and you get in there and then like. Oh, my house, and then neighbours start building next door, and you're like, what the fuck?
Mm.
And fucking gypsies move in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start turning up with their caravans. But yeah, or as if when you buy a house and you find out it's built on a ancient burial ground, and it's a pain in the arse.
Wrecks your swimming pool, doesn't it?
Yeah, but peculiar, but yeah. And of course Conan Doyle got involved. He's like, as it was around his time, he couldn't leave it alone.
He was a bit of a mug, really,
anyway,
wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but his life, because he had disasters in his life, that maybe pushed him.
Right.
I think
pushed him to look for something else.
I think what pushed Conan Doyle was cocaine, because even like Sherlock Holmes was a cocaine addict.
I was watching Sherlock Holmes today, and he was taking cocaine. Yeah.
He absolutely hated being forced to resurrect Sherlock Holmes, didn't he? It fucking wound him up no end, didn't it?
He did it for the money.
Because the Reichenbach Falls bit was supposed to be the end of Sherlock Holmes, weren't it? But they made him write some more, didn't they?
Yeah, and the ones that we wrote after that were a bit silly as well. There's a little bit of protest in the stories, as if to say, I don't really want to do this, so I'm going to make him a bit silly. But yeah, but he did it for the money. But but anyway, let's go back to this. So the vault itself is 3.7 meters deep, just below ground level. Barbados gets plenty of rain during the Caribbean rainy season, and it's possible that the vault could have flooded and the coffins could float about in there. You
said they're lead coffins, though, aren't they? Because that shows that they're lead coffins, doesn't the thing? There's only one wooden coffin.
Yeah, but I suppose if the lead coffin is hollow, then would that not make it float? Possibly, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, however, this theory becomes redundant when you look at the sand that was laid on the floor when the vault was when the governor did that. Obviously, if it was flooded, then the sand would have been dispersed, which it wasn't. So that really
it kind of swelled to where it was draining out, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So that puts pay to that theory. So yeah, this day.
I think it was the underpants gnomes.
Ball lightning.
Yeah,
they could have been ball lightning.
Yeah. Could have been ball sack lightning, quite painful.
Underpants films, are we?
Yeah. This can't really, obviously, with the Belmer's faces, you could say, someone's obviously drawn those, which could well be the case. But with this, unless this story is highly exaggerated, there's no real explanation for it, is there? So. Obviously, it did happen a long time ago, so that's
was spoopy.
And also, I don't think they've got a gift shop nearby. That's as well, so that's one reason to take it more seriously.
Well, they're missing out there, aren't they?
Yeah, because you could make a coffin keyring would look quite good, wouldn't it? Coffin, something like that. But anyway, that's the case of the Chase Vault coffins. So, if you've not got any questions, we can go back over to Dom.
Have they? Oh, sorry. I have one? Sorry, guys. Have they debunked the coffin things because the Valley rocks and Utah ones that came are and then
I don't believe they have been debunked, have they? There's no real explanation for this. So this could be one. This could actually be the supernatural at play. Could be proof that it does exist. Anyway,
cool.
Let's go over to Dom, who's going to tell us the curious tale of a haunted doll.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
This tale is curious and mysterious and curious, and it's about Robert the doll.
Robert.
If you were to visit Robert the doll, If you were to visit the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, then you'll be met with the sight of a 117-year-old Robert the doll. And there is a picture. There he is. So yeah, there he is. a star of the show, and there's a woman who isn't the slightest bit interested.
No, she's
doesn't give a
looking at
shit.
whatever's going on behind him.
Yeah, look at my arse.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she's all right. I mean,
yeah,
right.
you need a front view, though. You need to see it from the front, don't you, to get?
Yeah, you need to assess the frontage.
Yeah, it turns out she's a fucking pig. So.
Yeah.
It's
a bob fuck, isn't it? They call him a bob fuck, don't they? Body off Baywatch, face off crime watch, isn't it?
Turn the light out. Stick a bag over his head.
Nice tits.
Look at the mantle
protection with.
Yeah. Don't look at the mantelpiece when you're poking the fire.
Nice video shame about the song.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we? We were body shaming a woman who we only see the back of.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robert is 40 inches tall, stuffed with wool. He wears a sailor suit and keeps a toy dog on his lap. Let's have a closer look.
That's a toy dog.
A toy dog.
Yeah, we'll have a look now. Let's have a look. Peculiar.
Has someone shot it? Did they try shooting it? Is that what they did? His face is a mess.
Yeah. It's like the original Mr. Potato Head.
I was gonna the Edward James Olamos of toys, isn't he?
It's Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney.
Mr. Potato Head. Prince William. Prince William's got a potato head, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, prior to Robert's residence in the museum, the doll was a property of Robert Eugene Otto, an eccentric artist and member of a prominent Key West family. Robert was a childhood birthday gift from Otto's grandfather, who bought the doll during a trip to Germany. Now, what I found weird about this kid was called Robert, and he named his doll Robert. I mean, is that kind of, isn't that like a sort of early red flag?
Wouldn't you think like an artist would have more imagination than to name the doll his same? Or is he just like a narcissist?
Yeah, it's either narcissism or lack of imagination.
I'll tell you one thing though, whoever made that doll couldn't do feet, could they?
Call my cat Ian.
Yeah.
Do you?
My cat is called Ian. Yeah. Both of them are called Ian.
Sonny in the chat said, if that doll could talk, I don't think we want that doll to talk.
Not that doll. Not that doll. Lewd stories, I should imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like people have been throwing darts at its face.
Yeah, they're a really popular doll, weren't they?
What's with the fucking dog as well?
Yeah, and that's
it's a toy within a toy. The toy has got a toy.
Toyception.
Yeah.
Toyception.
Toygate.
So, anyway, Otto developed an unusual relationship with the doll, which continued into adulthood.
I don't like the word unusual relationship. It sounds a bit like somebody else we know.
Yeah.
Incestuous relationship with the doll.
Yeah.
The doll was sticky all the time.
So he would take the doll everywhere with him, talk about it in the first person, as if he was a living entity and not a doll. And he would. Well,
this is like that film Magic, isn't it? Do you remember Magic with Anthony Hopkins in it?
No.
That was, and also there was a film from the 50s or 40s maybe called Dead of Night, and that actually that was the inspiration for the Anthony Hopkins one.
Was it?
Ventriloquist dummy sort of takes over its owner sort of thing, and you're not quite sure, is the owner mad or is the dummy actually alive? That's what it does. I think the Twilight Zone have done similar type of episode.
What's that? Dead Silence is like that as well. You seen Dead Silence?
And Chucky as well.
Yeah,
Chucky. You know?
Yeah, well, I think Chucky's like where it's led to, but I think Pinocchio where it first came from, maybe.
Yeah. That's Pinocchio. If Pinocchio was the owner's wife, would sit on Pinocchio's face and make Pinocchio tell lies.
Geppetto's
Yeah,
wife.
and
Yeah, if you know what I'm.
no, I've seen a meme about that with a woman sat on Pinocchio's face saying, "Lie to me," and he says, "It smells really nice in here."
Oh, no.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah, because it smells like fish. Doesn't smell nice.
Anyway, so back to the doll we're talking about, who's Robert. So Otto would take the doll everywhere with him. Yeah, obviously this Otto is his surname. Of course, this guy's also Robert.
And
he'd take
Otto also is from Animal House, isn't it? John Belushi. It's Otto. Yeah. Had to get Animal House in, the best film ever made. But anyway, sorry, carry on.
And the bus driver in The Simpsons. But
Toga Party.
And
so yeah,
I was going to say the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm wrong. He's Augustus, isn't he?
Yeah. Augustus, is it Augustus Gloop?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we digress. Well, tell us about this creepy doll, and it's even creepy. I mean, why does that dog have a shocked look on its face? What is he doing to the dog?
He's penetrating the dog there. Look, you see.
That dog's as high as a kite. Look at those pupils.
It's just the expression of "I've seen too much." So yeah, okay. So Otto took his doll everywhere with him. Talk about it in the first person, and he would often be heard talking with the doll in two different voices. On many occasions, Otto's family would be awakened in the middle of the night by him screaming, only to find the frightened boy in bed, surrounded by overturned furniture and scattered toys. The young boy would claim it was Robert who messed up the room.
A little shit, eh?
Yeah, little bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he began to blame mishaps on the doll. While this could be laughed off as childish storytelling, adults also started to notice odd occurrences, especially as Otto and Robert grew older. Servants who worked for the family claimed to hear small footsteps and laughter when the house should have been empty. Well, Otto lived in a stately home he called the artist's house. Robert could be seen positioned at the upstairs window of the house. School children swore he would appear and disappear. Otto was clearly using the doll to entice children into his house so that he could nonce them. The children would avoid the house at all costs. And so a woman called Myrtle Reuter purchased the house after Otto's death in 1974. It was reported that Otto died with Robert by his side. Robert came with the house, so Myrtle became the doll's new caretaker. Visitors to the house swore they heard footsteps and giggling coming from the attic where Robert resided. Reuter said that Robert would move around the house by himself, and after 20 years of looking after him, he was donated to a museum. Robert is also the star of his own film.
Hasn't it already been done with Annabelle?
Yeah. Go to the next picture. We can see the advert is part of that franchise, but it's actually based on this story. So we'll go to the next picture there. We can see the actual strange occurrences.
Wants to be your best friend forever.
Yeah. Robert the doll.
Yeah. It says before Chucky, before Annabelle.
Can't be any good. It's only a 15. It's got to be garbage, isn't it?
Well, no. One of the Chuckies was a 15, and me and my two mates went to see it at the cinema when we were 13. And
number 2 was a 15, weren't it?
Yeah, they only thought one of my mates was old enough to let us in, and Yeah, the other two of us were absolutely devastated. You know, because they were like, "No, only one of you's 15," and it's like, "No, we're all 13." And yeah, devastated. We were turned away.
Gutted.
Stout on that. Yeah. I did watch I started watching the Chucky film, but I got to admit I didn't think it was very good, and I didn't see the end of it. I got a bit bored and watched something else. But,
Which one? The first one, the original one.
I'm not sure. There's a few of them. I think they're all very similar, aren't they?
The late ones get a bit rubbish. I think I'll probably put 1 and 2. 1 and 2 worth watching. I don't think anything else is really.
It shows it could happen. See, dolls do get possessed. So, yeah. Well, what I'll do then? Let's look at another haunted doll. I'll
Oh, that's a beauty. That isn't it? You'd love to play with that one, wouldn't you?
So Robert the doll isn't alone in the world of haunted dolls. He has a distant cousin called Letta, who lives in Australia and is also possessed. So there he is there. So that's hours of fun for children there.
That is a creepy looking doll.
Yeah.
Hours of terror for children there, isn't it?
In the early 1970s... you go.
Who is he? Sorry to interrupt, but who does he remind me of? There is a politician.
I thought it was a bit. There's a bit of Paxman. There's a bit of Paxman about. He got a bit of the Paxmans about him.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Roy Jenkins?
Anyway, sorry.
He looks a bit Roy Jenkins, doesn't he?
Yeah, anyway, so in the early 1970s...
Cecil Parkinson, that's it, isn't it? Cecil Parkinson.
That's the one. Anyway, in the early 1970s, Kerry Walton was mooching about in an abandoned house in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, Australia. Nosy cunt. Under the floorboards of the house, Kerry found an unusual-looking doll. Wooden, with glass eyes. He decided to keep it and put it in the boot of his car. I don't know why you'd want to keep that, but... He did. As Walton proceeded to drive home that day, he heard a movement and a cry of "Let me out" come from the boot. Hence the doll's name.
Was he Italian? Was he?
Yeah.
It's me, Mario.
It's me.
Yeah. The doll liked to eat pasta and pizzas and would talk with his hands.
And pinch ladies' bottoms.
Upon bringing Letta home, Walton said his children were terrified of it, and they said the doll would talk to itself and move about on its own accord. Dogs also acted aggressively towards the doll. Those who encountered Letta said they had nightmares and felt nauseous. Walton claimed the doll would walk around at night. The doll was examined and was said to be over 200 years old and made with real human hair by Eastern European gypsies. So when gypsies aren't fighting in car parks or marrying their sisters, they spend their time making haunted dolls. The doll was said to be haunted by the spirit of a drowned boy. So that's how he became possessed. Letta became a bit of a celebrity haunted doll in Australia, appearing on TV a few times. Walton vowed not to get rid of the doll despite its dark connections. He travels with the doll and charges people to have their photo taken with it. Let's have a look at the next picture and we'll see more of a full-length picture of
Lord,
Letta.
that's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just so.
I've got a theory. I've got a theory. I reckon that an ant colony has established itself inside the doll, and they've somehow figured out how to pilot it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it makes sense, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Walton's making a few quid out of the doll. You can have your picture taken with it. He's going to start selling T-shirts. So, yeah, haunted dolls. There's quite a few of them. So let's have a look at the next picture. We'll look at another haunted doll. Have a look at that there.
Yeah.
The next one was found. This one was found in a bedsit in Bristol. There's ectoplasm was found on the doll, so that would indicate paranormal activity of that doll there. So, yeah, so that was what happened there. Go to the next picture.
Is that
an interesting one? And we see doll, which is in fact my doll. If you go to the next one, show you if people at home
It's
can
up
see
now.
that. Well, it's not. That's it there. That is my. That's the day I took my doll to work, and I sold that one for 20 quid on eBay. But yeah, it's a bit weird. That one's gone. So yeah. Enough of the haunted dolls. Go to the next picture. We'll look at another case of supernatural
Haunted
possession.
toilet.
Haunted toilet. So let's look at this then. The Bow Bells pub in East London is the home to a mysterious phantom toilet flusher. The ghost has made its presence felt in the ladies' toilet. Reports state that someone would go for a piss or a shit and the toilet would mysteriously flush by itself. Often this would happen when the occupant is halfway through laying a cable. Other reports say the phantom flush happens during wiping. But mysterious skid marks have also appeared on the toilet and no one would take ownership of them. A hideous stench also has been reported to come from the toilet. Let's have a look at the Bow Bells pub, where the phantom toilet is.
You're telling
East
me
End.
this bog will scare you shitless?
Yeah.
Ah.
Let's have a look at the next picture, and we'll actually see the pub. It's
Hang
a
on
real pub.
Hold on a minute. This could be the origin story of the phantom raspberry blower of old London town.
Mm.
Could be like, or maybe he's haunting that place, or maybe the ghost went into him and he became who he is.
Yeah. My fork that I dig the garden with is broken. Could I have a new handle for it, please? Anyway, I think this one is on. This is on the Craze Manor, tying into the last episode that we did, innit? This is one of the Craze. This is on their manor.
Yeah.
You don't want to fuck about there.
Born within the
Anyway,
sound
so
of Bow
anyway.
Bells. That's how you know you're a proper cockney,
Yeah.
isn't it?
But quick question about the Craze, though. Who did the Craze love? Multiple choice. Did they love A, their dad, B, their cousin, or C, their mum? Anyone?
I think it's their mum.
Yeah, C. Well done.
Yeah.
It's their mum.
Yeah, but
Right. Anyway,
they love their mum.
yeah, they love their mum. Yeah.
So you're
Anyway.
a proper cockney if you were born within the sound of the Bow Bells toilet flushing.
Yeah. 1974, a séance was conducted to rid the pub of the phantom. So it was 1 plop for yes, 2 plops for no. As the spirit was asked to make itself known, the toilet door swung open with such force that it smashed the pane of glass in the door. Barmaid Janet Wilson experienced the phantom, and she said, "I was late for my shift in the pub one night as I had a bad case of the shits. I didn't know what the fuck I'd eaten, but I followed through earlier that day and had to change my underwear. When I arrived to work, I headed straight to the toilet, locked the cubicle door and proceeded to pebble dash the pan. Just as I reached for the toilet roll, the toilet flushed by itself. I had heard the stories, but dismissed them as nonsense. I was so scared that I did literally shit myself. Since the 1970s, up until the present day, the phantom can still be felt and continues to flush on unsuspecting arses. So, there you go. Hauntings can happen anywhere. So, yeah, we've looked at a few curious cases there. So what we'll do, we'll go and move on now, and we'll go over to Dom, who's going to tell us curious tale about the Crying Boy paintings. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. It's in the middle of the night in Thatcher-era England. Home in South Yorkshire succumbed to a fire. The lounge room was charred black. Drapes and furniture were reduced to ash. The owners of the home, Ron and Mary Hall, lost everything in the blaze. That was, except for one painting, which depicted the image of a crying boy, his wide eyes looking out from the wreckage. The painting wasn't damaged at all, not even blackened by smoke. So, yeah, there he is.
Are we
Damage the paint, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't...
He's crying because he's... Yeah.
He didn't
Anyway,
cry.
horrible.
If he cried more, he'd put the flames out, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, on September the 4th, 1985, we all had mullet haircuts and Walkmans. It was on this day that the Sun newspaper ran a story entitled "Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy Picture." Numerous tales are being told where people would put crying boy type pictures on their walls. The houses would then burn down and the picture of the crying boy would emerge from the blaze undamaged. So yeah, that's one of the articles there, and there's a follow-up article on the next picture.
They did this in the Fortean Times, didn't they? They did a big bit on the crying boy phenomenon, didn't they?
Yeah, the Sun started it, but yeah, it seems to have kicked off a bit. But, yeah, because they're the distressed family.
Yeah, so it became national news. And then loads of people came forward, of course, to tell their stories.
Mm.
There was a few here. Brian Parks of Aldershot destroyed a painting of a crying boy after a fire in his home hospitalised his wife and 2 children and left them homeless. The painting was left undamaged on the blackened wall of his living room. I don't see a problem with this one in particular because any fire that burns properties in Aldershot would probably increase the value of Aldershot.
Yeah, the Germans actually bombed all of Aldershot, didn't they? Caused £15 worth of damage.
No, isn't it £15 worth of improvements? And is the gag, isn't it?
Image improvements, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Grace Murray of Huddersfield was hospitalised with severe burnings after a house fire which left her painting of a crying boy undamaged. The Pomelo Pizza Palace in Great Yarmouth was destroyed by fire, leaving an undamaged crying boy painting in the rubble. And Kevin Godfrey of South Yorkshire was left homeless due to a fire. A crying boy picture on the premises was left unscathed, whilst pictures on the wall picture on the wall either side of it were burnt to ash. The Amos family of Merseyside experienced an explosion that destroyed their home. A crying boy painting was discovered on the premises unaffected by the blast. Mr. Amos quickly destroyed the painting and all its evil.
What do they make these paintings out of then? Asbestos.
Asbestos, yeah, asbestos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's very odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know who buys such a. Who would want that on their wall?
It's like that. Do you remember that old 70s picture of the woman with a green face? Yeah. I never really understood why people bought that.
Or a plate with Elvis on it, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, Elvis Presley Dan Buster's clock plate of Tutankhamun. Yeah. I'd have bought that.
Yeah, who buys a picture of a crying child anyway?
Estate people, isn't it? You know,
estate
people in those. Yeah, they do it. Fucking horrible places. House smells of fags.
Ian can elaborate on the
crying boy, but yeah. So can have a look a bit deeper into this mystery. So. The mystery of the crying boy arsonist can be traced back to the 1950s. A Spanish artist named Giovanni Bagolini had an unhealthy interest in little boys, so he made a series of paintings depicting a young boy crying. To cover the fact that the paintings were for his own sexual gratification, Giovanni said that he sold the paintings to tourists as a reminder of the orphans of World War II. Oddly enough, people in England, especially young couples, grew fond of these paintings. Mass prints were sold across the country. suppose it was after the war, so people had nothing, so they would just buy any old shit. The pictures were supposed to depict war orphans. Bragolini did in fact use child models. There is a story that one of the boys depicted died in a fire when he was older. There's no actual facts to back that up. So
Child models. I'm surprised Netflix haven't picked it up.
Yeah, child models. Yeah. All right, and what we'll do, let's have a look at the fucking not very. I don't know who would like these pictures, but let's have a look at a few of the pieces of cheap shit that he produced. Let's go to the next picture and have a look.
That's weird, isn't it?
So look at that one. Yeah. It is actually. Go to the next one there. Let's look at that. It's
Who on earth buys this shit?
Yeah, older people.
Yeah.
Anyway, horrible, isn't it? Go to the next. Yeah.
Weird shit. Those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would have that on their wall. Go to the next one. Let's disturb ourselves.
Back to the start. That's the last one.
There's another one. There's another one there.
No, that's the last one. Let me go back to the start.
He like that? Giovanni liked that painting so much that he shot his load in the boy's face.
Oh.
So it's come everywhere. Yeah. He spunked, didn't he? A face load. Take that.
And the painting has recently been bought by Mr. G Glitter.
G Glitter Parkhurst.
Mr. G Glitter of Cambodia.
Mr. R. Harris, Australia. But anyway. Mr. P. Andrew, Buckingham Palace. But all right then. So anyway, so that's the crying boys' pictures. So they're obviously so the spirits stop them from getting damaged in the fires that they cause. This was actually, if we go to the next, there's a YouTube clip which I've sent to you, Hemi. Let's just have a look at that, where the BBC actually did carry out an experiment where they tried to burn one of these pictures. So we'll see if it actually does catch fire, or if the forces of above stop it from burning. Let's have a look now. We'll just play this now.
Tracy, got a little something for you.
Here we go.
One I looked into myself back in the 80s. We called it The Curse of the Crying Boy. I want you to reopen the case.
There was only one thing left to do. Quiz some boffins about the baffling curse top pin.
Dennis, isn't it?
Or rather, ask some scientists to test the
painting. It's not catching, is it?
Fire.
No, it's not.
In order to enhance the scientific
power of the crying boy is
we're actually filming
reflecting the flames.
It's quite a big flame. The flame is now about 2 feet high.
Yeah. Flame's going up a bit though,
Inching towards the figure. Just the lapel of his jacket has disappeared now. There's a hole in the bottom.
No, it's not catching, is it?
Not, is it?
The flames
don't
appear to be
don't want to burn.
Spreading across.
That's an asbestos mat that's cracked on the floor.
Well, you'd have to say that has not caught fire.
Put a bit of lighter fluid on or something.
In fact, it's now time to put the sausages on.
I'll tell you what, the story of that Bobal's toilet got to me.
Did it?
Yeah, you had to go, did you?
You have to say that fire's...
The spirit of the Bobal's toilet, yeah, it moved through me. Definitely didn't have anything to do with all the hot sauce I ate last
truth might be in the varnish.
It must have been the spirits.
It's probably been coated in
Definitely.
something which is resisting the...
I certainly felt a movement.
Whether it's actually some sort of fire retardant coating.
You just missed when we were talking about the crying boys. You know the phenomenon of the crying boy pictures.
Fire retardant properties.
And it won't burn, see?
As I closed the casebook,
strange, isn't it?
one partially charred crying boy portrait sat forlornly outside on the porch. I'm not taking any chances.
Is his name Damien?
Sure. He was a child model, so there you go. It's not happening.
He's not the son of Dalboy, is he?
So the BBC proved it then. So the just won't burn. So in a bid to debunk the stories that grew up around the paintings of the crying boy, experts have offered their own theories. A frustrated fire brigade pointed out that in all cases there had been fires, there was a rational explanation. The fires almost in all cases could be traced back to human carelessness or electrical faults.
Yeah,
What they
like
couldn't
the
explain.
excuse.
Yeah, what they couldn't explain was the evidence that the paintings often remained intact when everything around them was destroyed. Probably the reasons the paintings didn't catch fire was that they may have been printed on a fire-retardant material. So that's possible, isn't it? Why you would do that, I don't know.
Various runs from
Every
various
single
places,
one.
they all decided to use
That's
exactly
not
the same material.
possible.
So when you're doing like oil or acrylic-based paints,
Dominic Corrigan says, "Why don't they clad tower blocks in Crying Boy pictures?"
or,
It makes sense.
better yet, have the firemen wear Crying Boy paintings as protection.
They could have a
Makes sense,
shield of
wouldn't it?
Crying Boy paintings, couldn't they? Just hold it out in front of them.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, so we've covered a few cases there. What do you reckon?
Ooh,
Crying Boy
spooky.
is supernatural? Is it a natural occurrence? Who knows?
I just wish we had Skuggy's take for the Bo Bowles toilet. He's our resident poo expert.
He's a pooper.
Yeah.
He's a pooper, ass cookie.
Takes a bit of toilet action, does he? So, but yeah, so we can all look at these cases tonight, look at the evidence, and make our own decision. So yeah, so there we go. We've covered.
Did you say there's a couple of bits on unexplained mysteries you wanted to do?
Well, should we have a look? There's a new crop circle, isn't there? Should we have a look?
Oh yeah, I'll get that up. Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crop dusting season.
Yep. Circles are happening. No one knows how they're made.
For some reason, they don't like genetically modified crops. I wonder why is that?
Yeah.
Or do they only vandalise organic crops?
We shall see. We'll look at this now and see. Is it just a few drunk people mucking about one night in a field?
Two blokes and a plank.
Are there bigger force? Yeah, the bigger forces.
Plank of wood and some string.
There we go.
That's
It's
all
up.
you need.
Right, we're ready to go. This crop circle.
They're quite complex, though. The crop circle is quite complex. So,
Has anyone
we'll
ever
see.
actually translated
telling
any of
me-
them? Because apparently they're supposed to be translatable, aren't they?
You're telling me two drunk blokes at 2 in the morning with some planks of wood and bits of string can't do these shapes?
I mean to try. I want to make one
Yeah,
myself.
but they said they
I
did
know.
all of them, so that's the explanation of it.
Sure, they didn't do all of them.
They must be very busy. And how do they travel around with all the travel
Who's paying them to do it?
restrictions? Yeah. Well, we just do it as a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
Travelling all
But it's-
throughout Europe.
Well, so
Hmm.
they spoke to who's this idiot they spoke to? Matt Adamoyak. He said, I have no idea this appeared. I'd like to think aliens, but it's more than likely men with planks of wood. Absolutely men with planks of wood, that isn't it?
Yeah, that's all it is. Nothing to see here. Moving on.
Yeah.
See, the bottom of the flying saucer is round, and the jet, as the flying saucer lands, the jet comes out, and that forms the circle in the field where it's landed.
Ooh.
That's the theory.
I don't know whether it's some sort of mysterious fucking wind or something, because the way the crops are bent, because they're bent, they're not broken, are they? I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe M. Khan made the
yeah, because they're bent.
But you have had cement circles as well, where fresh cement has been laid, and then all of a sudden a circle appears in it. So.
I'll have my crop circle bent, not broken.
Yeah.
I think it was Neil Buchanan.
Oh, he's got a big heart attack.
That's why Jeffrey Epstein's house wouldn't catch fire, says Marco collects spaghetti.
Oh no! Oh,
no.
I'm sure that we'll get more. We'll get more crop circles before the summer's out. So
yeah,
there'll probably be more to come, I would think. If not, we'll make our own.
What do you want to do off of thingy then?
There was a couple of stories, wasn't there, on
the tiny 20-inch cow. Have you seen that one?
No, let's have a look at the tiny 20-inch cow.
Yeah, tiny 20-inch cow is born on a farm in Bangladesh. It's like a midget cow. Little cutie, isn't it? It's probably fucked. It's going to die any minute.
Yeah. We got 5 legs.
Yeah.
2 heads.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with pollution at all, is it, Hobbit?
No, or consanguineous relationships.
Well, this is a cow, so...
Or consanguineous relationships with cows.
Probably. But there he is.
I think they're trying to genetically engineer their own Pokemon.
Does anybody know what Havana syndrome is?
Is it where you go to Cuba and find out it's a shithole and it's not like the romantic movies point out? Because there is Paris syndrome.
Can't stop wearing flip-flops.
Yeah, Paris syndrome. The Japanese suffer from that,
and the Chinese.
Does anyone know if Tom Jones syndrome is common?
I heard it's not unusual.
Well done.
Hey. A case of unexplained illness among US diplomats is now being investigated by the authorities in Austria. The mysterious condition, which causes a range of symptoms such as fatigue, headaches and nausea, is named after a spate of such incidents began in Havana, Cuba back in 2016. Or could it have just been the office party? At the time, it was believed that US diplomats were being targeted by some sort of directed energy weapon by unknown foreign agents with the goal of disrupting diplomatic ties with the country. Now the phenomenon has appeared again, this time in Vienna and again involving US diplomats. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the US experimenting their own people. You know how fucking weird and twisted the Yanks are, don't you?
Making mutants out of their own race.
Hobbit, what do you think to this one? A moon wobble will cause flooding in the 2030s. NASA has warned that higher tides...
It's definitely not anything to do with HARP. Let's just blame it on the moon.
That's it, yeah. It's going to wobble.
That could explain the Chase Vault coffins, couldn't it? That's a moon wobble.
Oh, moon wobble.
Making the coffins move of their own accord.
Moon wobble in everyone. Oh wait, that wasn't Shakespeare's sister.
It was that dance that Michael Jackson did, wasn't it?
Moonwalk.
Yeah, he liked the little boys as well. The crying.
I'm glad you mentioned that because rather than talking about moon wobble, I'm looking at a headline here about Dubai creates its own rain to beat the heat. Shall we talk a bit about geoengineering?
Go on then. Where's the story?
It's in Unexplained Mystery, Science and Technology. The long and short of it is they're using drones. The drones are zapping clouds with electricity, which is a novel approach. I mean, normally they use like aerosol sprays to do it. And that creates clouds and then it makes the clouds precipitate. And there's a 2-minute video in glorious 240p showing rain in the desert and like rain on roads and such. So they've been researching it for years, but it seems like this is one of the first years where they've actually covered it. And I wonder what the consequences of like redirecting rain will be.
Yeah, that'd be none at all, will it?
I'm sure it won't have hilarious consequences.
Do you want to do Amy Winehouse's father still sees her ghost?
Oh, seeing as we've just done ghosts, yeah.
Amy Winehouse's father still sees her ghosts. In a new documentary, the late singer's dad, Mitch, maintains that his daughter still visits him at night. Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
He's got a book to sell.
No, it's a documentary called Reclaiming Amy.
Oh,
there you go.
She do a set. What song does she do first?
He absolutely
wanted to take me to rehab, and I said no.
My daddy says I'm fine. You seen this one? Ghost Rider haunted 19th century Wirral. A ghost with a face wreathed in fire was said to have tormented part of northwest England 120 years ago. England is certainly no stranger to ghost stories, with just about every town and village being home to at least some sort of paranormal tale, many of which dating back several centuries. The Merseyside borough of the Wirral in the country's northwest is no exception. Back in the late 19th century, it was home to a spate of sightings of a ghost said to have a face wreathed in flame. Sightings of this unrelenting phantom, which are often accompanied by a strong smell of sulphur, have in recent years seen comparisons being drawn with the comic book anti-hero Ghost Rider.
Badass.
Yeah. Mel, dude.
Brutal.
I mean, what was that? Synthetic marijuana?
Spice.
Yeah. I think that might be what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
In the 19th century?
In the 19th... Oh, I missed that bit. Sorry.
Oh, Hobbit. One for you here. Amateur chef uses volcano to cook his pizza.
Now... isn't there a load of like sulfur dioxide that comes out of volcanoes which would make pizza taste nasty?
So, whereas most people rightly run a mile and step onto the crumbling, lava-strewn slopes of an active volcano, Mario David Garcia Mansilla, has he got enough names, has he? Who has a passion for making pizza, has discovered a unique way to make money by providing tourists with his volcano-cooked delicacies. Mansilla, now a tourist attraction in his own right, can be found on the slopes of the Pakia volcano. Preparing his ingredients and cooking pizza by placing the baking tray next to the lava. The eye-watering heat of the volcano makes quick work of the food, and visitors to the area will often pay a premium to sample the delicacy of a sliced pizza prepared in this unusual manner.
Delicacy, yes. You know, funny enough, I was reading about food today, like ways to cook if you're in a hotel room using the iron and things like that. But one of the things I saw today was, you familiar with the French dish papillote poisson papillote?
No.
So it's steamed fish, what you do in the tinfoil. Yeah, the Americans have got an equivalent of it called dishwasher fish.
Yeah, I know you could do. You can poach a salmon in a dishwasher.
Yeah. Oof. I suggested this to an American. She got very upset with me for some reason.
Do you remember Mythbusters when they made a lasagna in the dishwasher?
No. That's horrible.
Yeah, they made a lasagna in the dishwasher.
They tried to blow up a diving tank like in Jaws. See if they could kill the shark that way, and it didn't work.
A lobster diver got more than he bargained for on Friday when he had a close encounter with a humpback whale. It was early in the morning. 56-year-old Michael Packard, who had been lobster diving for years, entered the water off of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, on his second dive of the day. As he reached the seafloor, however, he encountered something altogether unexpected. All of a sudden, I felt this huge shove, and the next thing I knew, it was completely black. I could sense I was moving. I could feel the whale squeezing with the muscles in his mouth. Without realising it, it had inadvertently been swallowed by a huge humpback whale. I was completely inside, completely black. I thought to myself, there's no way I'm getting out of here. I've done. All I could think of was my boys. They're 12 and 15-year-old. As luck would have it, however, the whale wasn't too keen on his latest meal. I saw a light and he started throwing his head side to side. Next thing I knew, I was outside in the water, said Packard. He ultimately escaped from his close encounter with only a broken leg and a few other minor injuries.
Well, that's okay then.
Is there anything you want to read, Hobbit? Any more you want to read?
The rain in Dubai. Jeff Bezos did a totally really went to space, really, for more than 1 second. Amazing. Did you watch the video? I watched it live. It looks so real.
Yeah.
I could really believe it really happened.
You've seen this one. Dozens of people died in northern India at the weekend by a spate of lightning strikes that hammered the region. Being struck by lightning might seem one of the least likely ways to die, but in India, bolts from the blue are responsible for an average of 2,000 deaths a year.
Oh well.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
I'm sure it's not. I think it's pretty high in this country, actually.
I don't think it's 2,000 though, is it?
I think we'd have heard about it if it was 2,000. They've got 1 billion Indians over there. So might that have something to do with it?
Man claims he went to hell for 23 minutes.
Oh dear. What was that? A bad trip?
Sounds like it. After having a near-death experience in 1998, Bill Weiss woke with some rather disturbing recollections. Ask someone who's had a near-death experience what they remember, and most of the time they recall seeing loved ones turn on a light, feeling of peace and contentment. For Bill Wise, however, his experience was quite the opposite. Bill Wise claimed that he got up around 3 a.m. to get a drink, and he had what he described as an out-of-body experience, which saw him travel through a long tunnel to what he believes is hell itself. I was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. I landed on a stone floor in a prison in hell, he said. There were stone walls, bars. It was more like a dungeon, a filthy, stinking, smoke-filled dungeon. The heat was so unbearable. I wondered how I could be alive. Why am I here? How did I get here? The next thing he knew, he was sharing the cell what happened to be two large demons. And then they directed this hatred they had towards God, towards me, he said. One demon picked me up and threw me into the wall of the prison cell. I felt as if bones had been broken. Now, I know a spirit doesn't have bones, but it felt that way. I wondered, why am I still alive through this? The other demon dug its claws into my chest. The scene then shifted to a pit of flame that was filled with thousands of skeletal people. The stench in hell is the most foul, putrid, disgusting odour, he said. Before he knew it, however, he was back in his body. He went on to write a book about his experience, which ended up selling millions of copies. Whether he had a genuine experience or was simply dreaming, however, remains unclear.
Yes, because you can smell in your dreams. No, that's a bit more than a dream.
Yeah, sounds like it, doesn't it? Does anybody
by the way,
yeah,
it was only 18 people a year are killed by lightning strikes in the UK.
Yeah.
So we've got what 70 million. They've got 1,000 million. Is that proportional? If we're 100 and then we're 20, then 10 times would be 200. No, India gets far more killed by lightning strikes than we do per capita.
So is it then?
Well, right. So, what you want me to do the per capita? Like, so
Yeah.
if England was 100 million, then
18
you'd
per
have,
70
so
million.
yeah, I'm going to round it up to 20. So 20 does 100 million. So you times that by 10. You still just end up with like 200 being struck by lightning if they were British, but you got 2,000 being struck and killed by lightning in India. With 1,000 million population, yeah. So per capita, that's like 10 times more than what we got.
Yeah,
and then some.
That is weird, isn't it?
I guess just God, or sorry, the 6 million gods hate Indians.
Has anyone got any more? Are we done?
30 years looking for Nessie.
Oh, what's that one?
Well.
Oh yeah, the man.
Steve Feltham. Yeah, Steve Feltham has spent 3 decades watching over Loch Ness for signs of the enigmatic monster. For most people, looking for signs of the elusive Loch Ness monster amounts of glancing over the water in the hope of catching a brief glimpse of a dark shape disappearing beneath the murk. For Steve Feltham, however, looking for the creature has become a lifelong obsession. Originally from Dorset, Feltham began his search for the world's most famous lake monster back in 1991 after being fascinated by the possibility of its existence. He has made a living selling miniature objects, models of the monster for tourists. Now 30 years on, his passion for finding the creature remains strong. I'm free doing exactly the thing I love doing, he told the press. I'm not trying to show the world there's final proof to solve the mystery. I'm addicted to the chase. I am addicted to finding new pieces of evidence. That's what keeps me going. And there we go. Living the dream.
New pieces.
He's made a living selling
nothing
shit to tourists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
The thing with him, though, when he has an interview, he is quite normal. That's the trouble. He's not a fruitcake.
Does he do like rowboat and boat tours of the lake then, or?
No, he just does a gift shop, doesn't he? I think he just does a gift shop, doesn't he? There's nothing chasing Nessie about it, is there? He just does a gift shop, doesn't he?
But he's got to be into marketing, hasn't he? Yeah, he's got to go in there with a marketing plan. I'm going to sell. I've got T-shirt prints lined up, this, that, and the other.
Interviews, website. It's all about money.
Yeah.
But if you go to Loch Ness, you can go and visit him and see his setup and his operation.
Are you familiar with the story of Caspar Hauser, Ian? That's quite an interesting one, isn't it?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It's the kid that appeared out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
He grew up feral or something.
No, he didn't know who he was or anything. I think hold on, I'm just trying to find the story. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Where the on the 26th of May 1828, a teenage boy arrived in the city of Nuremberg, now in West Germany. He was wearing tattered clothes, and his boots were so ill-fitting that his toes stuck out and were bleeding badly. He could hardly stand, and when he could say only a few words. When questioned, all he could reply were the words, "I don't know." However, he managed to write his name on a piece of paper. It was Caspar Hauser. Hauser became an instant celebrity, and when people flocked to see him at the police station where he was being kept, he was taught to read and write and proved to be such a fast learner that within 2 weeks he was able to give a full description of his early life. Hauser said he'd spent all of his early life locked in a small dungeon. He had no contact with the outside world and never saw his captors. One day a man came into his cell and showed him how to write his name. He was then released. He could not remember how he had arrived in Nuremberg. Hauser's death 5 years after his arrival at Nuremberg was as mysterious as his life had been. On 14th December 1833, he staggered into a house with severe stab wounds. He claimed he'd been attacked by a stranger in the park. When police went to investigate, they found just one set of footprints in the snow. They were Hauser's. 3 days later, he died, and the secret of whether his story was true or an elaborate lie died with him.
It's funny you mention this story because this week that one about Germany with the paedophiles, foster children. Sorry, let me rephrase that. So foster children, German government. Oh, okay, you're a known paedophile. You're gonna raise this child because it'll be good. You'll give them love and affection, and then like the paedophiles went on to abuse the foster children. It's like, well, what's the conclusion of that experiment? Then you've just ruined that child's life. Well done, Germany. You keep on winning, Germany.
But back to the Caspar Hauser story. What do you think to it then?
Germany and doing weird things like locking up a boy in the dungeon is entirely believable, considering what they get up to now.
He could have been a time traveller. Another dimension.
Well, he didn't say anything about being in the footer in that dungeon, though, did he?
On the footer.
I am from the footer.
Maybe he was just a div kid, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Div kid and came up with an elaborate story.
Yeah.
But the death's pretty weird, isn't it? Only one set of footprints and that.
He stabbed himself, didn't he?
Yeah. Good going, Caspar. You fucking played yourself.
Yeah. Not impressing anyone with tall tales.
Right, lads. I think we're trying to thumb in a softie here, aren't we? Unless anyone has any more.
That was good content.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Richard Branson did a plane thing. He flew up in the plane.
Was what's his name out of NSYNC on it? He was supposed to be on it, weren't he? Out of NSYNC.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, in this, I'm not sure. Oh, there's a passenger in this plane as well, and it's super impressive because it went up like 50.
Oh, so it's not the Virgin Galactic suborbital flight then that they've sold the tickets for. He's like fucked that off, and he's doing another one now, is he?
So, it piggybacks off of a plane, went to 46,000 foot. I think like the long haul planes, they'll do 45,000 feet, weren't they? And then it launched from that, and then how high up did it go then? I had like 50,000 feet, which is like, well, The crew experienced a brief period of weightlessness. Right, so they experienced a brief period. Does that like when they were falling down, like the vomit comet? It's really like not that impressive. If he went up there and it's like, oh yeah, I was there for 4 hours. That would be one thing. But like, oh, I was there for like a couple of seconds. It's definitely not a vomit comet. No.
I think the Illuminati are on the International Space Station, and all the billionaires are trying to get to them to join them.
I'll have to like bring up a couple of pods to live in if that's what they're going to do, because living conditions be a bit cramped.
Right, are we done?
Yep.
Anyone else?
Any more for any more?
Oh, there's train news. Wow. Here's more like news of things you'll never be able to afford, and they're just rubbing it in your face now. French designer envisages real-life Snowpiercer. Only the world's wealthiest will ever be able to afford this train. Esteemed designer Thierry Gauguin has designed an opulent palace on wheels for those that can afford it. Yay! The movie Snowpiercer and its TV adaptation. You ever heard of Snowpiercer?
Yeah, I heard of the TV series I watched anyway.
All of the world's survivors are crammed inside a train.
Yeah, it's a dystopian sci-fi future movie, and someone wants to make it real.
Some of the passengers live in the rear of the
toilets
train,
are like.
which... Well, I think that's where we get... I think it's just like a hole in the floor if you're on a train, right? Some of the passengers live in the rear of the train, which is akin to the slums, where the very wealthy live in total opulence at the other end of the train with all the luxuries money can buy. Now French designer Thierry Gauguin has come what he calls the G-Train, a concept for a palace on wheels. Oh, great. So he's just drawn up like a train on a piece of paper. That's very impressive, Thierry Gauguin. It's not a public train or a passenger train, said Gauguin. The owner we envision is someone who's aware of the uniqueness of this train and understands that we're not just talking about transportation. It's about Prince Charles might like this. He's got his own private train set in what is it? Hertfordshire.
I think
you heard about that?
Pete Waterman's got a train in his back garden, hasn't he?
Oh, it's not just a train in his back garden. It's like a train which goes through his Potemkin village, like. Just something I need to talk with Phil about. Like, hey, did you realise like Prince Charles has got his own Potemkin village to like pretend like his bucolic ideal lifestyle, a bit like with the French aristocracy having their bucolic chateaus where they'd have a bunch of servants tending the vineyards and the gardens around, so they could pretend they were wealthy farmers. Yep.
Are these employees of his that live in the village?
I don't know. Well, maybe there's like you have to be in a certain like club of elaborate handshakes to be a villager. But that thing you were talking about earlier with pattern recognition, pareidolia. Scientists unlock the secrets of pareidolia. Yeah.
Pareidolia. Yeah.
From Bigfoot on the moon to the face of Jesus. Well, apparently that's what the headline says. From Bigfoot on the moon to a face of Jesus and a piece of toast. Why do we see faces when none exist?
And on a dog's ass.
Oh yes, the dog's ass.
That was a famous apparition of Jesus. So truly, he works in mysterious ways.
Certainly does.
Got the dog's ass.
I've got the picture. I can put it up.
Yeah, just the face in the dog's ass. Have you seen this one?
You want Jesus in the dog's ass? Right, let's hold on.
Jesus in the dog's ass.
Can you find it just by going Jesus in a dog's ass?
Yeah, put that into Google and see what comes up.
Dog's ass Jesus. Dog's ass Jesus. Google images. You'll find it straight away.
Or dog's bum.
Oh yeah, I found it. You get some weird other stuff. Some woman sat on a bloke's face. You get
oh dear.
You get some very strange stuff when you Google Jesus in a dog's ass.
Not Jesus in a dog's ass. Jesus on a dog's ass.
Oh, did I put Jesus in a dog's ass? Oh, right. That must be. That might explain some of the results I've just had.
Yeah, context is king.
I would have just put Jesus dog's ass or dog's ass Jesus.
There we go.
You understand.
When you see it, you and your dog will shit bricks.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Woo 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 woo.
Definitely there.
He comes to us in mysterious ways.
He moves in mysterious ways.
Sure does.
He poops in mysterious ways.
He rubs his bum on the carpet in mysterious ways.
Right, I think that'll do. We've done 2 hours.
It's astonishing. Yeah.
Go away now, everyone.
Go away.